Hello again, and welcome to Choices and Changes. The picture of the hand lets you know that we will be including vowel choices, but we will also be including changes that may surprise us, like in the word rose, where we can hear z, but we write S-E after the long vowel O. We will be concentrating on the changes that may appear in other spellings as well as this one, and our choices will be a slightly shorter part of the lesson. And here we can see our rose, where Z is written S-E. And the pattern is that if we hear Z at the end of a word with a long vowel sound, we regularly write S-E. Rose. And it isn't always a vowel consonant-y spelling choice. And please is an example of just that. Use or surprises. And the surprise in this word is that we have z in surprise, but we also have it at the end. Suffix s in surprises sounds like z as well. You could, to remind yourself, use finger spelling. I write S-E, even though I can hear Z. Erase. This time we can hear S, but we are writing it with C-E. And this is the first set of words where we've used C-E at the end of a word. We have race as an ace word, as a reminder of the lesson where we covered it, and we have price, an ice word. We also covered using CE after an N, and you can see that in the word fence. Or an R, force. They are two other places where the S we hear at the end is written CE. And finger spelling, to remind yourself, would be like this. Well, the fashion for Halloween this year. Fash, and then I-O-N. A spelling language could be fash-I-on, to remind ourselves that in this word, shun is written S-H-I-O-N. And we have a similar spelling in cushion. K is written with a C, and then the is a U. Except, hang on a minute, I can hear you saying, cushion sounds like after the K. And you are quite right. Caution. It's what it looks like, but we say cushion. Cush I on could be your spelling language. And above it, you can see in our cushion that we have It's a Wonderful Life. And one, well, it sounds like the we've got in cushion, but we write it with an O. Wonderful could be our spelling language. And now we have a station. Think about the syllables. Stay, and then shun again. Shh. That lets us know we have a change coming. Which letters will we need? T-I, not S-H at all. And the next part, N, uses O-N. Shun in station is T-I-O-N. It looks like tie on, but we say shun. Station. And there are a lot of other words that use this spelling, like emotion, emotion, or information. Or going back to 2 syllables, it could have been fiction. Lots of words you will come across where the shun at the end is spelt T-I-O-N. But let's go back to a 3-syllable word, optician. This time our spelling for shun is C-I-A-N. Okay. And other words could have been politician or mathematician or musician. And you can see that for those words I haven't gone over the syllables because I thought you'd like to try. Politician, mathematician, because there's an E in there that comes as a surprise, and musician, where we have another word where the Z is written with an S. Music. How are we going to remember? Shun is written C-I-A-N. Well, when we go to an optician, they give us answers about any problem we might have. A politician might give us answers as well, and a mathematician. So the A-N ending we have for the people who give us answers. Professional people who know their stuff. And how do we remember the C? Well, think about the alphabet. A, B, C. They're very close together. So that's the prompt for the C in optician. But we have another spelling. And you can see here that we have the symbol we would use for division. And this time we spell it S-I-O-N. So the I-O-N, that's the same as station, but the S. So we could say div-is-ion as a reminder. What about tension, which may be something you're feeling with all these different spellings? Ten-sion could be a spelling language. But then we might have television, which has exactly the same ending, but this time we say jeune at the end. We still spell it sion, this-ion. And yes, that zh ending was tricky. Television. But that movement is a bit of a reminder, because televisions have lots of things that move when we're watching them. And one more. These students are having a discussion. And discussion sounds the same, but it is double S-I-O-N. And your spelling language could have discuss sion as a way of remembering it. And admission, admiss sion. There is certainly a lot to discuss and think about while we're deciding how to use what we know to help us. Let's see what else we're doing. We will start with a quick look at our vowel choices, and then we will introduce why we have been using the star instead of a circle to represent a speech sound. When we hear A at the end of a syllable, or all on its own in a syllable, we write the letter A. When we hear A somewhere in the middle of a word, we write A consonant E or A-I. When we hear E at the end of a syllable or all on its own in a syllable, we write the letter E. If we hear it somewhere in the middle of a word, we write double E, E-A, I-E, or E consonant E. A lot of choices to think about. If we hear I at the end of a syllable, or all on its own in a syllable, we write the letter I. If we hear it somewhere in the middle of a word, we write I consonant E or IGH, which I will admit is occasionally at the end of a word too. If I hear O at the end of a syllable or all on its own in a syllable, I write the letter O. And if I hear it somewhere in the middle of a word, I write O consonant E or OA. And at the end of a word, OW. If I hear you at the end of a syllable or all on its own in a syllable, I write the letter U. And if I hear you somewhere in the middle of a word, I write U consonant E. And if I hear you at the end of a word, I write EW. Now, I have to admit that we have only covered this spelling in one word, the word view. It will be appearing again in another lesson. But because we had covered it, I included it here. A lot of choices. But we can have fun with actions while we say the letter names. We stand like the person here, looking like a star. We will be nodding our head, waving our hands, or you could say shaking them, and lifting up our feet when it's the sounds at the end of the word and shaking them. The numbers will let you know which part. Nod your head and say O. Wave or shake one hand and say O consonant T. Wave or shake the other hand and say O-A. Lift up one foot, shake it and say O-W. Yay! And if we hear you, end of a syllable or all on its own in a syllable, you is what you shout. Shake that hand, U consonant E. And number 3 goes straight down to one of our feet. At the end of a word, shake that foot and say E-W. A different way of going over these choices and having fun. Thank you for joining me and for working so hard.